The difficult thing about making superheroes is unmistakably deciding how far their powers can go. Although nobody wants to make a hero so powerful that nobody is interested in them, you also want to create a character with dynamic and exciting enough powers that people actively look forward to seeing them used. While generally the route best traveled is to give a character one power at a reasonable level, there are those creators who decide to go above and beyond and pump their hero full to bursting point with the universe's best and strongest abilities. Whether this be through binding them to a celestial being, giving them an inability to die, or just straight up having the most physical prowess of the entire comic universe, there are practically endless ways to make a character overpowered. I'm Yoon from What Culture, and here are the 10 most stupidly overpowered superheroes in comics history. Number 10. Deadpool. While Deadpool is perhaps not the first character that comes into your mind when you think of overpowered characters, that's because heroes who only have regeneration powers are underappreciated for how terrifyingly powerful they secretly are. Deadpool is different, admittedly, as his immortality doesn't come with a catch or a specific loophole or weakness, but rather the simple ability to never die. It's almost always played for laughs, right up until the moment Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe series, where suddenly it becomes a whole lot clearer how overpowered this can make Deadpool, because it leaves him able to kill pretty much anyone given enough time and the right tools. Add to this figures like Thanos and Man-Thing that Deadpool could viably defeat, and suddenly the combination of immortality and regeneration powers seems solidly OP, or at least definitely enough to make you reconsider how you view the merc with a mouth. Number 9. Squirrel Girl. The most interesting thing about Squirrel Girl is, by all means, her ability to be technically the most powerful superhero in the universe, if only entirely for comedic effect. Given her powers are supposed to only consist of super strength and an ability to talk to squirrels, the punchline of Squirrel Girl is taking someone whose powers should be pretty much negligible and making them overpowered anyway. Squirrel Girl has defeated Thanos, Galactus, Doctor Doom, and pretty much any other insanely powerful character you could think of, and with ease too. It serves to be effective on two levels. Firstly, that it's refreshingly different and funny, and secondly, because, well, it's hilarious seeing people absolutely lose their mind over her doing feats that are supposed to feel impossible, because that's the whole point anyway. Squirrel Girl plays on the ridiculous nature that all incredibly powered heroes possess, and that's exactly what makes her so engaging as a character, all potential side controversies aside. Plus, she even won over Jules, and let me tell you, that's no easy feat. Number 8. Phoenix. Take one of the world's most powerful telepaths, join her with a practically all-powerful cosmic entity, and it's safe to say you're in for a pretty powerful superhero, albeit a pretty volatile one too. With the Phoenix's powers, Jean Grey, who is once again one of the world's most powerful Omega-level mutants, suddenly becomes much more of a force of nature than any kind of mortal figure. Everything from astral projection, reality bending, and of course energy manipulation are available to the Phoenix, and they're available on a scale that is never not terrifying to even just see on one page. Importantly, while the two are joined, Jean cannot technically be killed, as instead of dying, the Phoenix Force becomes an egg that the completely healed Jean returns from. This means that not only is Jean totally overpowered in this form, but also that she is completely unkillable, so no plan to defeat her will leave her that way for long. Also, she eats planets for breakfast more frequently than Galactus does, so hey, there you go. Number 7. Superman. Superman being overpowered is the single most obvious statement about the DC universe, on par with groundbreaking news such as Flash is fast and Batman is depressed. It says a lot that Superman has been actively depowered over time, and yet still somehow manages to stay safely at the absolute top of the list of overpowered superheroes. Not that that's a bad thing though. He's also a pretty good look into the fact that overpowered superheroes can still be engaging. The Man of Steel's ridiculous amount of powers is also one of his biggest struggles, as his concerns about whether his humanity is impacted by his incredible abilities becomes one of the most engaging aspects of the character himself. As, in seeing even a god amongst men has strife, we can then empathize with Superman, as we can see that, despite his sweet eye laser beams and super strength, he still has internal struggles and fear and guilt like the rest of us, which serves to make the overpowered Man of Steel one of the most human comic characters to date. Number 6. Franklin Richards. Having the most powerful mutant in the current Marvel Universe coincidentally also be a little boy with no idea what his powers are or just how to use them is quite possibly one of the smartest moves made involving the Fantastic Four in history. While to this day we still don't 100% know the entire scope of Franklin's powers, we know that the youngest Richards child has incredible powers in two spheres, that of psychic powers and reality bending. He's capable of pretty much changing the known world to his will, to the extent that, As a child, Franklin once accidentally created a pocket dimension that was a perfect replica of his own world, which is both kind of cool and also completely terrifying when you think of the catastrophic potential of a child having so much power could have. It's also been pretty strongly implied that Franklin is immortal, which is sure to eventually prove a fun surprise when the hero family find out for themselves. He also once made Galactus his own herald, which is absolutely mind-blowing the more you think about it. Number 5. The Hulk. The Hulk tends to be the standard by which we can judge if another hero is strong. While he is not undefeated, as practically every member of the Avengers has beaten him at some point in history, it's considered an unusual moment that highlights the absolute peak of that character's abilities. As such, it's fair to say that the Hulk is more powerful, as his threat level in these comics is often equatable to many celestial beings. It has been explicitly mentioned that the Hulk is the physically strongest character in the Marvel Universe, which makes his insane durability and superhuman speed almost unfair to add on his side. Crucially, as a result of the gamma radiation that created the Jolly Green Giant, the Hulk's body also appears to be resistant to the ravages of time, as series like The Immortal Hulk have shown that the Jolly Jade Giant could exist in the end of the known universe were he not to be killed some other way, which, given his day job, does seem admittedly likely. Number 4. Captain Atom. Not to be confused with Rainier Wolfcastle's Radioactive Man, with invulnerability to most attacks, regeneration abilities, and an ability to interface with technology, and all these super abilities you'd expect from any overpowered character, Captain Atom is the most interesting and overpowered character to be basically forgotten about in the current DC universe. Atom featured in Infinite Crisis, the 1 Year Later storyline, and many other iconic DC titles, although the only time he featured in any of them as a main character was during his time as a villain named Monarch, which would ultimately turn out to be out of the hero's control when he's corrupted by Monitor Solomon during a fight. In the current continuity, Atom barely features in it, despite being one of the most powerful heroes within the universe. While the in-universe excuse is because Captain Atom is too powerful and therefore too volatile, it also seems pretty likely that he's simply too powerful to include in any fights, as it would immediately make the whole thing less interesting. All this does is reaffirm why overpowered superheroes are so few and far between nowadays, because they just don't become as popular. Number 3. The Flash. It's very easy to consider the Flash as exclusively a hero with super speed, as the super speed is kind of the crux of the hero's identity, but it's also very much worth remembering that gaining super speed from the Speed Force also actually comes with a series of sneaky little side powers. Barry Allen's super speed comes complete with accelerated healing, electrokinesis, dimensional travel, and many other abilities that could be considered powers within their own right. While many of these powers are more explaining how the Flash manages to function at such speeds, as if he wasn't able to think that quickly, his superhero career would be cut short by him crashing into a wall and, dying, many other appear to have been tailor-made for specific scenarios, and thus have left the hero with an assortment of odd and unnecessary abilities for the foreseeable future. Number 2. Damage. Of all these superheroes you'd expect to be incredibly overpowered, any recently created ones would likely be safely off the table. After all, the days of creating crazy powerful heroes is long dead, right? Well, mostly, aside from one hero under the suitable name of Damage. Not to be confused with the 1994 hero of the same name, Damage has beaten Green Arrow, The Flash, and Guy Gardner at once, and even fought to a stalemate against Superman. A stalemate that Batman stated he wasn't sure the Man of Steel would have won had it continued. While many consider Damage to be DC's Hulk, he may actually be even stronger than him, as the likes of Superman and Wonder Woman aren't even a match for the monster. This is sort of balanced out by Ethan's Damage form only being able to come out for an hour before he reverts back to humanity, likely taking inspiration from DC's classic Hourman hero from a year prior. However, Hourman just had super strength, so Damage is maybe a little bit different. Number 1. Dr. Manhattan. Okay, so Dr. Manhattan might not be a hero in the traditional sense. In fact, to many, he probably represents the opposite of what a hero is. He massacres Vietnam and Watchmen's alt history, and while very much a member of the Minutemen, is effectively a government-sanctioned kill god who gives people radiation sickness in the long term. But here's the thing, he's also God. Captain Atom inspired him, but could Atom be omnipresent? Could Atom fashion entire realities out of nothing, travel across alternate dimensions, and, in a villainous turn, conjure a convoluted comic book reboot in 2011? No, he couldn't, so it makes perfect sense for Manhattan to be considered the most powerful hero of them all. Whether or not you think Manhattan is still a good guy is up to you, but he was for a given time, and while clearly overwhelmed by the abilities he possesses, there's no denying he's the most powerful figure out there at the current moment. And that was our list. What other comic book heroes do you think are stupidly overpowered? Please let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, as it really does help us out. You can catch more articles like this on whatculture.com/comics, and follow me on Twitter @EwanRuinsThings. Until next time, however, bye.